Okay, quick last thing to finish off on nationalisation. There are three industries that you need to know for your exam and how Labour went around nationalising them. Okay, so there's three that you've got to remember. The first one, and probably by far I would say is the most significant one in terms of success, is the coal industry. Coal industry before the war was failing. And I said in my last video, people were worried that was going to fail again. Okay, they thought without government intervention and help, it was going to fail again. It was an industry that was ordinarily did pretty badly, but the government decided to nationalise it. What they did in order to do that is they passed something called the Coal Industry Nationalisation Act of 1946, and they took the coal industry back under government control. It's not an easy thing to do. Because what they were looking at doing was that they had to take over 850 coal mines off and out of private ownership at a cost of £164 million. So the government had to pay an awful lot of money to nationalise these industries, to take them out of the control of private individuals. But it was a massive success. The coal mining industry's nationalisation. It certainly saved jobs. Everyone in the country thought that actually, do you know what, this is an industry that needs help. It needs to be nationalised. Even the Conservatives, who were normally against nationalisation, thought this was a good idea. And it, without doubt, rescues a failing industry. So by the early 50s, coal industry is doing much better. And it's more efficient. And generally, workers are getting paid more. So the nationalisation of coal is very, very good. It's very works really, really well. Okay. The next thing that you've got to know is transportation, particularly railways. So what the Labour government did, they bought up 52,000 miles of railway track off private owners, people that owned that railway track, and they nationalised railways. Now they did this because they thought that they would be able to make railways much more efficient. So for example, if you were travelling from, I don't know, Cardiff to London, the government felt they could do that much, much better than the private company. So they thought they could make it cheaper for the customer, for the public. They thought that they could make the trains much nicer, that they'd be on time, all of those things. And on the whole, it did really well. The nationalisation of transport started doing badly a bit later on, but that was well after the Labour government had left power. So the nationalisation of the railways and of transport was generally a very good thing. It brought about the birth of a very famous company called British Rail. So that was one of the more famous companies that came out of it, that was a nationalised company. One of the criticisms was that they didn't manage to successfully nationalise some short distance haulage companies, or like lorry driving and things, but that doesn't matter that much. On the whole, a success. The last thing that you need to know about is electricity and gas. So these are sort of two kind of industries that were nationalised in 1947 and 1948. Huge opposition to this. So this was something the government wanted to do, but the people didn't, because people thought, well, actually, if you don't have competition for electric and gas prices, then they're going to only go up. Okay. So for example, if you think about it these days, there are a lot of different people that can provide your energy. So you could have E.ON, you could have Swalec, you could have British Gas, a number of different people. Now, one of the reasons it's good to have lots of different people is because they've got to compete against each other to provide the best price. And one of the things that the people were worried about, if electricity and gas was going to come under just one government company and under government control, was that there wouldn't be competition and the price of it would just go up and up and up. This was something that people really opposed, but the Labour government did it anyway. And the gas and electricity were nationalised, electricity in 1947 and gas in 1948. To be honest, early signs were that Labour actually did a really good job, because they bought gas and electricity to areas that didn't have it before. So if you lived in areas, even some rural areas, you know, of Blackwood, for example, you might not have had access to electricity until it was all nationalised by the Labour government after 1947, and then suddenly they would hook your house up to electricity and you would have electricity for the first time. So many people in the countryside very much benefited from this. But those are the three industries you need to know. You need to know a little bit about them. So you need to know about how the Labour government nationalised coal, how they nationalised electricity, and how they nationalised transport. I know this is a very difficult topic, probably the hardest you've studied. Look, any issues, any questions, please get back to me. Drop me a comment and I will get back to you. All right, cheers. Bye-bye.